Hello students, welcome to the video tutorial of Informatics Practices for class 11th. Today we'll be discussing the second part of the chapter Flow of Control. So as in the previous video tutorial, we have discussed what were the statements in Python and what were the different types of statement, that is the compound statement, the empty statement, or the simple statement, also known as the single statement. And also we have discussed that how the flow of the control moves, that is the sequence and the selection and also the iteration, okay, that is the repetition. So having discussed all those things, let's move to our if statement of Python, that what are the importance of statements and how it can be used in the Python program. Okay. So coming to this point, type statements of Python. The if statement are the conditional statements in Python, and these implement selection constructs, decision constructs. That means whenever we are going to use the if statement, it will help us in decision constructs. That means whatever the header will be there, that will be used as the if, and inside that body will be having some decision controls. Okay. And if statement tests a particular condition, if the condition evaluates to true, a course of action is followed, that is, a statement or a set of statements is executed. Otherwise, if the condition evaluates to false, the course of action is ignored. As simple as it is. Okay. That means if the condition is going to be true, then the loop will execute, and if the condition is false, the loop will not be executed, or the course of action will be ignored. Okay. So before we proceed, it is important that you recall what you learned in chapter 4 in relational and logical operators, as that will help you in forms conditional in this chapters. That means in chapter 4 we have discussed about the relational operators and the logical operators. Okay, if you remember, relational operators were telling the relation whether this element is greater than this, it is smaller than this, or equivalent to this. Okay, and the logical operators were equal to or not equal to. So based on those things, the if condition will be evaluated. Okay. So here it is mentioned. Also, please note, in all forms of if statement, we are using true to refer to Boolean value, true as well as truth value, true, t-val collectively. Okay. So whenever we are going to refer true, that means the Boolean value is true, the value will be treated as true. Okay. And if the Boolean value is false, that will be treated as false. Okay. Similarly, false here will refer to Boolean value false, and truth value false t-val. Okay. So the Boolean will be taken as the false, and the truth value will be taken as false t-val. Okay. Don't worry about these things. This is not important for the programming part. Only this is important. Okay. This value, Boolean value false. Okay. Now the if statement in detail. Let's discuss. The if statement, the simplest form of if statement, tests a condition, and if the condition evaluates to true, it carries out some instructions and does nothing in case condition evaluates to false. That means if the condition is going to be true, then it will carry out the loop, and if it is false, it won't carry out the loop. Okay, that is mentioned here in example. For example, let's see, the if statement is a compound statement. Its syntax general form is shown below. If conditional expression, that means in this header if we have written a condition, that is the condition can be like a is greater than or equal to 10, a is less than or equal to 10, or any condition. Okay, so whatever the condition is there, that has been put inside this bracket. Okay, inside this if, then the statement or the group of statements are there. Okay, and here also you can see there is an indentation that is showing you that this is the part of this header. Okay, so this is all on the same indentation level. Okay, this line and this line. Whereas statement may consist of single statement, a compound statement, or just the pass statement. I've also discussed about the pass statement in the last video lecture, that pass statement does nothing. Okay, only it is important to complete the loop or complete the set of statements. Now, carefully look at if statement. It is also a compound statement having a header and a body. Also, you remember about the compound statement. A compound statement is having something which is having a header and also a body. So in this, the header is this one. Okay. For this example, you can see if ch equal to and in quotes some character space is there. Okay. So this will evaluate to space. Okay. So if ch is equal to space colon, then spaces plus equal to 1. This will mean space equal to space plus 1, and chars equal plus equal to 1. This will mean chars equal to chars plus 1. Okay, so if you remember the compound statement, in compound statement we were having a header, it was ended with the help of quotes. Okay, and then there were a set of statements. Okay, so this was forming a compound statement. So here also you can see, here we have written the conditional expression, that is ch equal to something, so it is a condition, it is a test condition. And here we have a colon, the header of a statement, notice colon at the end. Okay, now this is the body. Okay, and in an if statement the condition expression evaluates to true, the statement of in the body of if are executed, otherwise ignored. Okay, so only two cases are there, either the condition will be true or the false. So if the condition will be true, this loop will be executed, otherwise the condition will be ignored or the loop will be ignored. Okay, so also it is mentioned here, the indentation in Python is very important. When you are using a compound statement, make sure to indent all statements in one block at the same level, that I have talked about here also. Here also you can see the indentation level is maintained. Okay, so here also it is having the same indentation gap as it is here. Okay, and also these two blocks are inside this header file. Now it is mentioned that if however variable ch does not store a space, that is the condition ch equal to becomes false, then nothing will happen. Okay, and if the condition is true, what will happen, the number of spaces are incremented by 1 and number of characters stored in variable chars are also incremented by value 1. That means if this condition becomes true, the spaces will be increased by 1 and the characters stored will also increase by 1. But if the condition becomes false, simply this loop will be ignored and it will move to the next set of statement in the program. Okay, now see, consider another example illustrating the use of if statement. Ch equal to input, enter a single character. If ch is greater than or equal to 0 and ch is less than or equal to 9, print you entered a digit. Now what is happening here in this, we have written this statement ch is equals to input, enter a single character. That means you have to input a single character. Character means a, b, c, d or 0, 1, 2, 3. But how you can understand it is a character or not? With the help of this codes. Okay, so in this you have mentioned input, enter a single character. So whatever thing you are going to write, it will be stored in this ch. Okay, now if that ch is greater than or equal to 0 and ch is less than or equal to 9, it will write print you entered a digit, obviously, because if the characters is between 0 and 9, that means it is a digit, otherwise it will not be treated as a digit. Getting it? For this example. Okay, so that only it has mentioned, if this is greater than this or less than this, then you will write print you entered a digit. Okay, so only in that condition this condition will be true, so it this loop will execute, otherwise it will be simply ignored. Okay, now let's move forward. The if else statement. Now what happens in the if else statement, here also you are having the if statement, but also you are having an else part of the statement. So what it is symbolizing here, that if this condition becomes true, then the body of the loop will execute. Okay, that is, if the condition is true, whatever the statements are written here, that statements will be executed. But if the condition becomes false, then it will go to the else statement. It will not be ignored, it will move to the else part, and whatever the statement are mentioned in the else part, that will be executed. Okay, so that is the basic difference between the if and if else. Okay, here you can see an example also. For instance, consider the following code fragment. If a is greater than or equal to 0, print a is 0 or a positive number. Okay, so if the person is entering something which is greater than or equal to 0, then what it will mention, it is a 0 or a positive number. Otherwise, whatever the cases will be there, it will be a negative number. Okay, you know that if a number is equal to 0 or greater than 0, then it will be treated as a 0 or positive number. But if it is not mentioned under this, and whatever the number will be there, that will become a negative number. Okay, so it is a instance case for here as an example here. So if this condition will become true, so this will be evaluated, and if the condition becomes false, it will go into the else part, and then this statement will be evaluated. That means then it will be printed the name number, and then the statement this is a negative number will be repeated after that. For example, see, any value more than 0, say 7. If we have entered 7 here, then 7 is obviously greater than or equal to 0, so it is true. So for the true condition, we will go to this statement, and it will be printed print. Then after print it is mentioned a, and a is 7 here, so 7 is 0 or a positive number. So see, we have got this output, 7 is 0 or a positive number. But what if we would have entered a negative number, say minus 5, then it would have shown minus 5 is a negative number. Why minus 5 is a negative number? Because for this condition it will check the condition, but since minus 5 is not greater than or equal to 0, so this condition becomes false. So it moves to this else part, and this in this else part we have written print a is a negative number, so a will be minus 5 here, so minus 5 is a negative number. Got it everyone? Now let's move forward. Unlike previously discussed plain if statement which does nothing when the condition results into false, the if else statement performs some action in both cases whether condition is true or false. Okay, so why we are using if else? That means if we want some statement to be given as an output, it is better. Suppose if you are writing a program and a condition becomes false, it will show you nothing. So you will wait for the output, and the system will be halted for that time, and you will be thinking that maybe it is generating some output. Okay, so it is better that you use the if else condition, and in if else condition something will be performed. Either the condition will be true or condition will be false. So if it is true, then it will tell the output of true, and if it is false, it will take the output from the else statement, and that statement will be printed. Okay, so here you can see, if sales is greater than or equal to 1000, discount is equal to sales into 0.10, else the discount is sales into 0.05. Getting it? Suppose if any market is there, in that shop you have there is a condition that if the sales is greater than 10,000, then the discount will be given 10%. That means the 10% of the sales value will be taken as a discount. But if your shopping is not greater than this much, 10,000, then the sales will be taking a discount as 5%. Okay, so this is the condition. So in anyhow, whatever shopping you have done, either this discount will be prevailed or this discount will be prevailed. So if it is greater than 10,000, then you will get 10% discount, but if it is less than 10,000, you are going to get 5% discount. Okay, now let's move forward. Let's see the flow of control here. Here you can see the a part is for the if statement, and the b part is for the if else statement. Okay, so for the if statement you can see there is a text expression. If this condition is true, it will go to the body of if, and then finally the loop will be terminated, the statements will be terminated. And if the condition becomes false, it will directly go to the termination. It will not perform any action on the body, so directly it is ignoring this and it is ending the program. So obviously you are not going to see something if the condition becomes false. But here you can see you are getting the text expression. If the condition is true, then the body of if will be executed, that is the statement under the if will be proceeded. But if it is becomes false, the body of else will execute, and the statement inside this else will be executed, and you will finally terminate the program. So that is the difference between A and B. This question can be asked by the help of diagram also. So you can show with this flow chart. Okay. Now let's move forward. Now see, let us now apply this to the knowledge of if and if else in the form of some program. Now suppose you are having a program to take a number and check whether the given number is odd or even. So simply you know that whether a number is odd or even, if you have to check this, you just need to divide it by 2, and if the remainder is 0, that means it is even, and if the remainder is non-zero, that is the remainder is 1, so you are going to get an odd number. Okay, so here what we have done, we have first inputted that number. Num is equals to int input, enter an integer. So whatever the number you want to input, you have to input in this num. Okay, then if that number divided by 2 with the reverse, see, this the operator is used for the modulus. We have already discussed in the first chapters also that this is the operator of modulus. Modulus means it will give you the remainder. So it will divide it by 2. Whatever the number you have input here, it will be divided by 2, and whatever will be the remainder, that will be taken out with the help of this num modulus 2. And now that remainder will be compared with 0. Now if the remainder is equivalent to 0, then the number will be even. So it is written print num is even number. But if the remainder is not equal to 0, so obviously it will be an odd number. So for example, you have put a number 8 here. So 8 modulo, first it will input that number 8, then num will be having the reference of 8. Now if 8 modulus 2 equal to 0, now 8 modulus 2 means what? 8 divided by 2, then you will get 4, but the remainder will be 0. Okay. because 4 is a means 8 2 is a factor of 8, so you will get the remainder as 0. So this will have the remainder 0, and now 0 equal to 0, that is true. So this condition becomes true. So if this condition becomes true, the body of the if will be followed, and you will get this print statement, and the output will be written like 8 is even number. Okay, now if you would have input 17, suppose, so the 17 modulus 2 will not be equal to 0, because that will leave the remainder as 1. So 1 is not equal to 0, so this condition will become false. So it will not execute this statement, it will directly go to this else part. And this else part, it will not check anything, because already you know that if it is correct, then this will be executed, but if it is not correct, then automatically this else will be executed. And the statement will be like num is odd number, so num here will be 17, so 17 is an odd. Simple program of even and odd. Okay, now see, program to accept three integers and print the largest of three. Now this is an important question, and this can be used frequently also. Now suppose here what we have done, we have written first three numbers equivalent to 0. Now x equal to y equal to z equal to 0. We have got three variables, and all these three variables are referring to 0. Now what it is doing, first it will check the number which you have input. Now you have written this statement, x is equals to float, input enter first number. So whatever the number you are going to give, it will be stored as a float value, that is a decimal value. Okay, then in y also you will give the second number, then in z, and all these x, y and z are having float values. Okay, now max equal to x, we have compared this max with x. Now whatever the number you have input in x, that will also be with max. So max has got the same value which you are having in x. Now all the comparison of max will be done here. Now if y is greater than max, and max is having the number of x, okay, so if y is greater than x, frequently it will become that only. But if y is greater than max, now if y is greater than max, you will get max equal to y. Okay, so that means in this case, when the y is greater than max will become true, so the max value will now be replaced with y. Earlier max was having x, but if y is greater than max, that means the maximum should be y, so max has taken the value y. Now if z is greater than max, if this condition is evaluated, then in that case max will become z, and it will leave x and it will become z. Okay, and so in that case it will write print largest number is max, that is whatever is stored in the max will finally be printed. Now see, here we have taken three numbers. The first number was 7.235, second number 6.99, and the third number 7.533. Now let's see how it will execute. First in x it will go 7.235, then in y it will go 6.99, and in z it will go 7.533. Now first comparison will be between max and x. Okay, so max is equals to x, so x will have 7.235, so max will also have 7.235. Now the comparison between y and 7.235 will take place. Okay, so y is having 6.99, so 6.99 is greater than 7.235, it is a false statement. So if the condition is false, it will not be executed, and it will be moving to the next if. Okay, now here you have got if z is greater than max. What is z having? Z is having this value 7.533. So 7.533 will have a comparison with max. And what is max having? Max is having the same value as x, because this condition was false, so that will not execute. So max is still having the value of x. There's a comparison between 7.235 and 7.533 will take place. So here 7.533 is greater than 7.235. This condition is true. So if this condition is true, this will be executed, and now the max will be having the value of z. So what is the largest value here? Max, and max will give the value of 7.533. So max will be having this value. Now finally we will be printing largest number is max. So in this condition the largest number is 7.533. But what if we would have got the comparison here like y is greater than max? Suppose this y was greater than max was true condition. In that case, max will compare with y, and the largest value of y will be printed here. Getting it? So this is the program to accept three integers and print the largest of three. Okay. There must be a comparison between y and z also. I think the program is having some problem here, because here if the condition y is greater than max is true, so there should be a comparison between y and z. No, this program is absolutely correct. I'm sorry, because if this condition is true, that means max will have the value of y, and then this will be compared with y. Okay, but since here this condition was false, the comparison was taken with the help of x. but since but if this would have been correct, agar ye sahi hota, if it would have been correct, then what would have happened? The comparison of z and y would have taken place. Okay, so if z is greater than y, in that case either the z will be true, or the either z will be greater or the y will be greater. If the z was greater than y, then the maximum will be z. But if this was false, that means it will go and directly print largest number is max, and the largest number would be y in that case. Okay, so it will print largest number is y. Getting it? If this condition was true. But in this case, what we have discussed here, y was greater than max with this condition. In this condition, y is greater than max was false, so this loop was not executed, and we directly went to this example, this part. Okay, I think I am clear to you. Now let's move forward. We are having this third program that inputs three numbers and calculates two sums as per this. Sum1 as the sum of all input numbers, and sum2 as the sum of non-duplicate numbers. If there are duplicate numbers in the input, ignore them. Okay, so if there are duplicate number, you don't have to do anything, you have to ignore them. Okay, now it has shown you the example how it should work, that if the input of numbers 2 3 4 is given, then it will give you the sum as 9 and 9. Why? Because someone is having the value of all input numbers sum, that means 2 plus 3 5 plus 4 9. And sum 2 is having the sum of non-duplicate numbers, so here all these numbers are non-duplicate, so again the 9 answer is there. But if the numbers are like this 3 2 3, so in this the sum of all the numbers will be 3 plus 2 5 plus 3 8, but sum of non-duplicate numbers will be only 2. Why? Because 3 and 3 is duplicate, so this will not be treated here. Okay, 3 and 3 will not be treated, only 2 is left which is non-duplicate, so the sum 2 will be 2. In this case, see, 4 4 and 4, all these three numbers will be simply added for the sum 1, so you will get 12. But since all the numbers are repeated, nothing is here which is non-duplicate, so the sum 2 will be 0. So in this case you have to create a program for this scenario. Okay, so let's see what is the program here. Here you can see this is the program. Now see, sum 1 is equals to sum 2 is equals to 0. Now we have treated first two variables sum1 and sum2 equivalent to 0. Now num1 is equals to int input enter number 1, num2 is equals to int input number 2, and num3 is equals to int input number 3. So we have taken three input here, num1, num2 and num3. Now sum1 is equals to num1 plus num2 plus num3. Okay, simple, because it has to add these three numbers, so simply it is adding sum1. Okay, but if num1 is not equal to num2, that means the first number is not equivalent to the second number, and num1 is not equal to num3, that is the first number is also not equivalent to the third number, that means there is no repetition for the num1. Okay, so the sum2 will have the value of num1. First in sum2 the num1 will go. Okay, now the comparison between num2 and num3 is left. So first we will compare this. If num2 is not equal to num1 and num2 is not equal to num3, okay, so the comparison of num2 is here. So in that case sum2 will be taken as num2. Okay, and this sum2 is already having the sum of num1, because already we have added this sum2 in num1. This num1 was already in sum2. So now this sum2 is having this num1, and the addition is taken with the help of num1 and num2. So this will effectively have num1 and num2. Okay, only if this condition is also true and this condition is also true. If both these conditions are true, it will go to the third line, and here num3 is not equal to num1 will be compared, and here the condition will take place only if num3 is not equal to num1 and num3 is not equal to num2 as well. Okay, so this is the logic of comparing the non-duplicate values, whether the values are duplicate or not. If the conditions are non-duplicate for all the numbers, so the sum will be taken accordingly, and you will have the values in sum1 and sum2. And finally here we are printing that print numbers are num1, num2 and num3. This will print the numbers which you have inputted, and this will print the sum of the three given numbers is sum1, that is the sum of all duplicate or non-duplicate values, and sum2 will have the sum of non-duplicate values. Getting it? This is the way of writing this program. We are also having an alternate solution for this. The alternate solution is bit smaller with the help of this if and ladder of else. So this program is bit complex here. We will discuss somewhere else. Okay. First, for this situation, for this scenario, we will only discuss this program. Okay. Whenever there will be revision for the syllabus, sometimes else we will discuss this program also. Okay. So till then, students, take care. We'll meet in the next video lecture. Thank you.